And that's why you always gotta go against stuff like that. Like, you always gotta resist that temptation to do nothing and procrastinate, because that's your brain's default setting. Wants you to never grow, wants you to stay exactly where you are, and you gotta say, get the hell out of my way, brain. I'm not fucking listening to you today. You know what I mean, guys? You cannot be listening to your brain. So once you understand that, you can start doing, like, I started forcing myself. When I started going to the gym every single day, like 4 years ago, I started forcing myself. When my brain would be like, no, not today, I would be like, you listen to me, brain. That's not happening. Like, I'm taking control. You don't tell me what to do, I tell you what to do. And I started getting into this routine of every time my brain wanted me to do and stay exactly where I am, I would do the opposite. And that would be my motivation, doing the opposite of what my brain was telling me to do, which was stay exactly where I am, or not go to the gym, or eat some garbage food, you know what I mean? And I would just be like, no. And I would completely override my brain to get the results I want. And now I'm just like so mentally strong to the point my brain doesn't have any control over me whatsoever. Like, my soul dictates what I do and don't do, not my brain. And this is what I really want you guys to understand. Once you can take control of your own life and start making things happen without relying on your low energy or letting your brain tell you, like, no, not today. Okay, you gotta, that's the day when you actually have to do it. When your brain's like, no, not today, I'm not feeling good. Just give up and stay home today. That's the day where you gotta be like, no, this is the most important time to go. Because when you're constantly pushing back against that brain and you're like overriding that brain process, that's the time when your brain gets stronger and grows. Because instead of just giving up and giving in to your weakness, you completely just push forward, even though it sucks, even though it's miserable, you push forward anyway. And then you come home after you do what you needed to do, and you feel so much better. Tell me, guys, doesn't that happen when you're like dreading something or you're anxious about something for days, and then you finally go out and do it? For you people, I used to have anxiety, so I can talk about this. So for you people who have anxiety and you like don't want to go anywhere, you know what I mean? You don't want to be around anyone. You don't want to go anywhere and socialize. That's because your brain's so used to you giving in to its needs and to like not wanting to grow. But when you're able to take initiative and be like, no, brain, that's not happening, you're really going to start making strides in life, guys. See, so once you start understanding that going outside your comfort zone, that's where growth's going to happen. Okay, so growth is uncomfortable. Growth isn't going to be playing on your Xbox for 6 hours, unless you're like all-star EA Sports gamer, right? Growth is when you push yourself outside your comfort zone, which is going to cause anxiety. It's not going to be comfortable, just like running 8 miles nonstop, right? Or running a mile or two nonstop. It's not comfortable. And I would know, because it was so hard for me to get running initially 5 or 6 years ago when I started doing it every day. Like, it was so hard for me to keep going. Like, I'd try to run for a couple miles and I would stop, 0.8 in or 0.5 in and just pick up later. But then I started pushing myself and pushing my brain like, no, I'm running 5 miles without stopping, or I'm running a mile without stopping, and then I could take a breather after that mile. And once I started pushing my brain and pushing my limits, even though it was uncomfortable and made me anxious, like not stopping for breath, I would just keep running. This is one thing I always struggled with as a kid, because I used to be fat growing up. So I always struggled with running and stopping in the middle. Like, I wouldn't be able to run a mile without stopping because I'd have to take breaths in between and stop. But I trained myself to fight my brain and fight what was comfortable for the long-term reward, which would be finishing without stopping. And once I pushed myself past these barriers that I set up in front of myself, I saw so much more progress and results, because I didn't just stop after 1 mile. I didn't just stop after 5 miles. I went 10 miles without stopping, okay? And this is how far I grew. I went from not being able to run a mile without stopping to running 10 miles without stopping easy. So, just proves that when you stick to something and you grind it out and you force change, you don't listen to your brain, okay? You force change to happen and growth to happen. This is when the true results come, okay, guys? I mean, I'm living proof of it. I had so hard of a time running, and I couldn't even finish a mile without stopping until I started pushing the envelope, pushing myself, and like getting so mad at myself.